Ooh. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Houston. We have a podcast. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about Star Trek. Hopefully just the movies, but I know you guys are going to end up talking about the TV show anyway. So, quick agenda on what we're doing. We're going to talk about all 13 movies and which ones we like, which ones we don't like. We're also going to talk about some of our favorite Star Trek characters and scenarios we might want to hang out with them in. And then the highlight of our episode is our two guests and co-host have created their own Star Trek franchises, which we're going to give you guys some sci-fi scenarios on. I'm pretty excited for that. So for our guests this month, returning guest for the fifth or sixth time, we have Dan. Dan, welcome back.
Woohoo! Thank you.
And a new guest here, Lauren. Lauren, welcome.
Hey, girl, hey.
So because you're new to the podcast, why don't you introduce yourself with a character in a movie that represents you as a person?
Okay, well, you had enough trouble helping me figure this out. So the best I could come up with is Wonder Woman, not because I think that I am Wonder Woman. I think you're Wonder Woman.
You can think you're Wonder Woman if you want.
More so just that I was brought up by lesbians, so I find that I relate to her being brought up by a bunch of strong women. So yeah, and favorite character, I'd have to say Data from Next Generation.
From Nemesis, so it's a movie.
Yes, I mean, so.
But that's an awful one.
The
one he died.
Yeah. But yeah, I just loved his whole Pinocchio thing of trying to figure out how to be more human. Because I feel like a lot of us feel that way too.
Wow, that's a good answer.
Wow, that is a good one. Okay, so before we get started with Star Trek stuff, let's just talk about movies you've seen recently. So maybe just go around the circle here. Dan, what have you seen recently?
Sure. What have I seen recently? Rocket Man. I saw some weeks back. Yeah, it was good. I would say I didn't like it as much as I did Bohemian Rhapsody. And I also thought it was interesting that it was kind of like a musical. It wasn't. I don't know. Have you guys?
I've seen it. Yeah.
Have you seen it? No. Okay. I mean, I don't want to say too much then, but.
I don't think you're gonna spoil anything.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, it was kind of unexpected that they'll just suddenly the scenes will just turn into them all singing. Or I was expecting more like Bohemian Rhapsody, where it was like just live, like actual performance, like on stage. But yeah, I thought it was a decent. Wow. Yeah, I thought it was a decent watch.
Yeah, it was a bit too much musically for me. It got into like a few scenes and I was like, oh, this is like a proper musical. It's not just like a drama with some songs.
Okay, well that sounds amazing. So I don't know about you guys. I'm definitely going to watch it.
I think I should go next on that on the note of musicals, no pun intended. Because I watched Anna and the Apocalypse recently. So if you've been listening, listeners, I mentioned this movie as like one of my looking forward to movies, and this is probably the only one that I've actually watched afterwards, even though it's like a year later, because it popped up on Netflix. So basically it's a zombie movie, but it's a musical around Christmas, and I like zombie movies, which is why I called it out. But then after watching it, I was it was kind of disappointing, because it was really, I don't have a problem with musicals. I'm going to start off by saying that. It's just, it was especially cheesy and a little bit, I don't want to say lame, because that feels mean.
What, like, because I'm curious as to what it's even like. Like, is it a proper musical that's just like, oh, sort of zombie, like, I don't know.
It's a zombie, okay. Like, I think that's another thing about the whole execution of the movie, because it's a zombie movie, but then they like forced it to be a musical. Because they'll just like a musical, they'll break out into song, and it's all original music, but none of the songs were really that good. And
it's just sounds like dance.
No, the zombies weren't dancing. It's like the people. And there's like one, like for example, there's one character who's like he's like the bully, and then like when the zombies arrive, he's like having all this fun killing them, and he has this song while he's killing zombies, while he's enjoying killing zombies, and it's like
so he's fighting them, he's killing them
while
he's singing.
And
Have you ever seen Rocky Horror Picture Show?
I've seen parts of it.
Is it like that type of thing?
I haven't seen enough to say.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. It's just straight up like
Weird.
zombie movie, and we made it a musical, and it like
didn't mesh very
it
well.
didn't. No, I hoped, like, I feel like they could have done a lot better in the execution, but I don't know. It was interesting, I guess. It's my disappointing looking forward to movie.
I'm so sorry for you.
Thank you.
Lauren, how about yourself?
Movie that I've seen recently.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really go out to the movies very much. So the last movie that I saw in theaters was Captain Marvel, which is funny because so many people don't know who Captain Marvel is, and still don't because the movie wasn't very well marketed in Toronto, I thought. No?
I'm gonna disagree with that one.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, like, anybody who's not into sci-fi movies was kind of like, who's Captain Marvel? Because we now have the Office room that's Captain Marvel, and they're like, what's that?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's in the HR area, so.
So effectively what you're saying is a lot of people didn't even see it.
Mhm.
Interesting.
But it is also, I mean, now that you mention it, after watching Captain Marvel, I didn't really understand a whole lot of who Captain Marvel was. She's just really strong and like spunky.
But that's
Yeah.
so I don't read much of the comics for Marvel. I'm more of a DC, but I talked to my sister who's a big like all over comic book fan, and I know she was kind of a fan of Captain Marvel even before this show was. And some of the complaints in that movie and also in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame is that she was too OP.
Yeah.
But basically she was like, well, if you're gonna stay true to the character, that's basically what she is in the comics. So it's like
Yeah, she's like
yeah.
Superman equivalent.
Yeah.
What's OP?
Overpowered.
Oh, okay.
Like she's supposed to be that powerful.
I think it's a good character device, but it's hard to do too much when your character just can fly through a spaceship and explode it. Like,
yes. Because where's the tension? Where's the oh no, they're in trouble?
Yeah, like I'm assuming she has some type of weakness similar to Superman's kryptonite that would, I don't know, bring some drama in. I'm not that familiar.
Or they need to bring in even stronger villain. You know what I mean? Like that's.
But that's why I kind of like the way they approached the movie, is because like it was about knowing who the enemy was as opposed to her being able to beat them. But anyway, what did you think of the movie?
We hijacked that.
No, I found it started off well, and then it seemed like they were rushing it by the end, and I felt kind of confused and had to rethink it over because it wasn't very clear that, you know, it wasn't just the radioactive explosion that caused her to gain these powers. She technically had them beforehand, but that wasn't really clarified, and so it just felt like, you know, the story was going along really well, and then they were like, shit, we only have 10 minutes left. Let's just cram it all in there, and suddenly she's gonna go save the galaxy, and it's just
suddenly
like,
she's like, oh, I'm free of the
yeah.
mental.
And then they like have her cut her hair to be like, hey, she's more comfortable in her new attire and everything, or something to that. But also like,
inner look.
since she's the first real gung-ho character that doesn't just like kick people in the Marvel Universe Avengers, I just found it kind of annoying because it was like, it's almost, I know that they were planning this all beforehand, but it seemed like, oh shit, we forgot about having a strong female in this beyond the spy. Let's just throw this other character in there. Oh, and she's stronger than everybody, so it's all good.
And then at that point, they didn't know how to use her.
Exactly.
Like in the movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I like how the Skrulls were kind of like the victimized, like the good guys.
That was an interesting twist, yeah.
I actually, even until
my favorite part.
Even until like almost the very end of the movie, I was waiting for them to switch back to bad because I've only known the Skrulls bad.
As has
so
everybody.
I didn't trust them the whole way through.
Have you guys all seen the post-credit scene for Spider-Man?
I haven't seen Spider-Man.
Oh
Okay,
crap!
we won't
Alright,
talk
never
about
mind.
Oh.
Uh,
Have you?
No.
Okay, well, we're in the same boat.
I
They can
know.
talk about it later.
Okay.
I just, aren't they being thrown away too? So it's like,
Oh yeah.
I think they're kind of
Third
keeping them
time's the
around in
charm.
case they want to do something with it. I don't know. The movie I saw recently was from my favorite movie studio, A24, which has pretty much made every good indie movie the last like 5 or 6 years. I saw a movie called The Farewell, which is Awkwafina stars, and it's like her.
What?
She has to go back to China because her grandma's dying, but no one's gonna tell the grandma. They're like having a fake wedding to like have like a goodbye ceremony. I don't know. It was a really good movie, and I kind of respect Awkwafina more because she took a more dramatic role, but her role was pretty much be sad for 2 hours. So it's hard to say like, can she do more dramatic stuff? Like, do I want to see her in more stuff? Like, I like that she's diversifying and branching out. I don't know. It was interesting. I recommend the movie. It's a really good like concept and like really good story. But also it has the counselor from Rush Hour. He's the dad. The guy whose daughter gets kidnapped.
Oh,
Yeah.
Counselor Han.
Yeah. Just like the only other person I recognized.
I found that kind of difficult when you were asking us to put the crew together because so many of my favorite actors are comedians, and so I was thinking, oh, this would be so funny, and then I was just thinking of some of the tough situations that Star Trek characters are put into, and I'm just like, can Will Ferrell actually...
He's done some good stuff.
He has, but I don't know,
On that note, one of my movies I'm most looking forward to this year is called Uncut Gems, which is Adam Sandler in another dramatic role, which I think he's actually going to be really good in.
If it sucks, do you officially give up on Adam Sandler forever?
He's done Punch Drunk Love, so that's fine. He has like a pass now forever.
Yeah, but that was like
Forever.
19... Oh yeah, okay, fine.
And he also a couple years ago did a movie with Ben Stiller called The Meyerowitz Stories, which was also pretty good.
Oh, okay.
He played like more of a jerk who was like yelling and angry all the time, so it was kind of like a good mix between who he usually plays, but like in a dramatic movie. Anyway, let's
his
talk
Dracula movies were pretty good too.
His what?
Oh, the Hotel Transylvania one?
Those were... I just thought, I don't know, I was in a lot of pain when I was watching them in like an emergency center, but they kept me calm while I was waiting for the doctor. So I was like, oh, that's Adam Sandler.
Maybe that's the best review that movie's gotten.
I was in dire pain.
Let's talk about Star Trek.
Okay.
So, first thing we're going to talk about is the Star Trek movies. I'm going to try to keep this one focused on the movies and not the TV shows. And I'm basically just going to structure this in terms of which ones we liked and which ones we didn't like. So, let's start with the positives. What is, of the 13 Star Trek movies that are out there, what are you guys' favorites?
Wrath of Khan was great.
Wait, old one or new one?
Oh, wow. Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan. The actual old one.
The
Okay.
real one.
Are you talking the new one is Into Darkness?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it still has Khan in it, so I'm just making sure we clarify.
Coming from zero experience in the Star Trek movies, I actually liked Into Darkness when I first saw it.
I'm the same way because a lot of the reasons why people don't like it is because it's not Star Trek.
Yeah.
But if you don't care about Star Trek, doesn't matter. It's just like a sci-fi movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it didn't bother me, that Into Darkness. I mean, I think that Star Trek 1 and Star Trek 3, we're talking about the what did you call them? The
Kelvin timeline.
So the Pine movies. Yeah, I think the first and third are probably my favorites. Into Darkness don't have really any problems with it, but I still liked 1 and 3 better.
But to your point, Paul, I think I benefited from not understanding the references because as I've spoken about in Star Wars before, I hate references, but I don't think I knew what the references were in Star Trek movies.
Like only the big ones, like the Khan.
Yeah.
And I think that's all really.
They had tribbles as well.
Which?
Tribbles.
Wait, there's tribbles in there?
Yeah.
Oh, tribbles.
Wait, when
that
were tribbles
actually
in
was
there?
the part I hated.
They injected a dead tribble with like Khan's blood, and we was like, oh, you can come back to life.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, I hated that part of Into Darkness because the only other the older Star Trek movie that I have experience with is Wrath of Khan because I haven't watched all of it, but like parts of it.
You've seen enough.
Yeah, I've seen enough. And the good thing about I was comparing the two death scenes. So spoiler alert, Spock dies in Wrath of Khan, and then Kirk dies in Into Darkness. And I was like comparing the scenes, and like as a scene, I do like the Into Darkness one.
Mm-hmm.
better. Don't kill me.
Oh my God, you're in trouble.
Yeah, but I think as an overall effect, the death of Spock was obviously more significant.
Also, the fact that he ended the movie still dead.
Yes, that's exactly what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Because right after Kirk dies, it's like, oh, he's alive. But
We need some of Khan's super blood.
yeah, which was so stupid. But then also, Spock dies at the end of the movie, and they have a funeral for him. They shoot his body in space, and he's dead until the next movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, now you as an audience member at that time, like, okay, he's dead. Wow.
Yeah, the movie closed and he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But would you rather have the end of the movie, Kirk comes back to life, or a whole movie that is completely useless just to bring Spock back to life, which is what Star Trek 3 was?
I don't know, because then I haven't seen Star
Yeah.
Trek 3, so
Yeah, it's one of the ones I did not watch.
I would say it was there was ones that were worse in terms of like stupid stories, but Search for Spock was, I think, just the most boring and like forgettable.
Yeah.
So
It was more. Oh, sorry.
No, I just started doing house chores like while I was watching it, 'cause I just couldn't. I was just
Star
like,
Trek 3.
we get it. It's a big ship. We like take your time. Why don't you?
wait, they were looking for him in the ship?
no.
Well, no, but I just mean like all
Oh.
of their. I don't know. It reminds me of my mom when she first got a camcorder. It was just kind of like, you know, she would zoom in on a statue,
It's very
and then
slow.
she would zoom out on a statue. And I get back then that was huge. But now that we have it at our leisure, I was
Yeah.
just kind of like,
So
okay,
this was
I
Search
get
for
it.
Spock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Really bad movie for me was the very first one. Was the motion picture Star Trek 1.
Really?
The enemy is a cloud.
Yes, the villain. So you know, huge direct contrast between Star Trek 1, aka the motion picture, and Wrath of Khan. One of the big differences is, besides Wrath of Khan not being boring as hell, is that they actually have a memorable villain, and it's like a revenge story. It's more of like, you know, space adventure type thing. Whereas I don't know, what were they trying to do with Star Trek 1? Make it more like cerebral, make it.
But
Oh,
okay,
they
so
did that too. Sorry, in that motion picture, they were also doing the. Oh, look, it's the
I was
alien.
actually, and that's
Yeah,
what made
sorry,
me get
that's-
into this. Actually, I didn't.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that too. Is like a huge chunk of the movie was just showing the exterior shots of the Enterprise flying, and yeah, and then Kirk's walking around in engineering, and it's like you said, huge. It's just a massive room, and he's walking around, and I'm like, oh my god.
We get
so
it.
as Star Trek fans, I think Dan and Lauren, you guys like the TV shows in addition to the movies. Like, where's that line drawn of like what Star Trek is supposed to be? Because if Star Trek is just actions and lasers and explosions, is it Star Trek? So like,
No.
where's that balance?
So for me, it's all about the characters.
Mhm.
It's one of the reasons why. So this, I'm just bringing up the shows briefly, but one of the reasons why you know, I love TNG, and Lauren can probably chime in too on this, is the characters. The characters are so memorable. They're interesting. You know, yeah, that makes Star Trek. And the movies, getting to the movies, the ones that I liked better were the ones that actually had character moments, more character building character moments, especially in the original series, especially dealing with the big three, dealing with Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, right? But Star Trek 1, one of the reasons I really did not like it is there are no character moments. There's no moments where at least that's interesting. There's one moment near the beginning when Spock comes on, because all the main characters come on at different times, come onto the ship. And so then when Spock shows up, it's like the big three sit down and they have this conversation, but it's the most boring thing ever.
Mhm.
And I totally didn't even understand what was even the point of that scene, what was going on. So yeah, that's what I think Star Trek is about. It's largely the characters.
Yeah, I didn't even. I don't know. I never realized really where everyone. I'd never thought about it before, where everyone was located on the ship and stuff. And then when I had like half an hour to look at the outside of the ship during one of the scenes, I was just kind of like, huh, so they're all the way up there, and then they shoot down there, and then suddenly I was just like, this doesn't make sense. If this duct is here, and like suddenly I was just,
You were
I wasn't
thinking
even
about that?
focusing on what they were talking about, because I was just like, well, that doesn't make sense if engineering is over there, and then like.
Yeah, you're right. You're not supposed to be thinking about these things. It kind of
Exactly.
takes you away from.
And I've watched
Yeah.
Star Trek for years, and it wasn't until I started watching the original movies that it was like, oh, okay, that's what the spaceship is like, and I don't know, maybe it was just me.
How long, in relation to the first series, did that first movie come out? Or
Like how much
So
time
the
after?
original series was 66, and then I believe the movie was like 82.
whoa.
Like it was way after, right?
Wasn't it?
It
Really?
was
Wasn't it late
79.
70s? Yeah,
79.
79.
But anyway, it was like 15 years later.
Oh,
And
okay.
and they were all admirals by that point.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
And it's the same with like the TNG movies that came out after the TNG series was pretty much done. Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Maybe they were banking on, so like when that first movie came out, they were like, it's been 15 years, like when we show the ship, everyone's gonna just be cheering for 15 minutes.
Well, Star Wars came out in 77. So this was one of the big motivators, I think.
Oh.
Is that look, there's another big sci-fi
Yeah.
IP that's doing really well
Yeah,
as
it was
a
all
movie.
about graphics and
As a movie. So hey, maybe
And it was also when Star Trek first came out in the 60s, it wasn't popular. It like they shot 3 seasons, that's why they had like zero budgeting for like sets. And then it got popular in reruns.
yeah, during
And so
syndication is when
it-
people
it-
actually watched
yeah.
it.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, 'cause Shatner was like living out of a car for like the first few
What?
seasons, kind of thing. And yeah, when that was I mean, I don't know, when you watch the original series, after you watch all the other ones, you're kind of like, oh my god, this is, William Shatner is over the top acting. It's clear that like the Klingons, they literally just put some like big eyebrows on them and then pass them off
This
as
is
a
the TV show?
Yeah,
Mm.
and the movies to some extent, but like when you actually think about when you watch, I don't know, I Love Lucy and like just older shows, and then you think about how forward-looking this show was, it's huge. I mean, they even put TNG next to, how many kind of technology advances they kind of forethought, like the iPhone and a number of things that they kind of put as like, oh, futuristic, and then it actually happened.
One thing I find funny now that you mentioned like the technology with Star Trek is, and this is the shows, the movies, like the whole thing, is they have this hyper technology. I call it hyper technology, namely the transporters and the replicators, right? Like most all sci-fi pretty well has faster than light travel and stuff like that, but not many sci-fi has this like hyper technology that Star Trek has. Like look at Star Wars, nobody beams around, for example, right?
I have big problems with that, but
Yeah, but here's it's interesting because for me anyways, because they never take advantage of the technology they have, or at least full advantage. Like for example,
they only
use it for like one thing. Like for example, the transporters. If you're in a space battle with someone, okay, great, you can't send a transporter beam over if the enemy starship shields are up, fine. So you take their shields down, and then you beam like a bomb onto their bridge or something. Or you beam their crew into space. Exactly. And it's like they never do that, and I know why.
But
because
that's
it would be
the
narratively.
engineering room was blowing up, and they didn't have the transporter like online, and
Yeah, I know. But right, but this is it, right? Like you can't. If they do that, it would be like in the Marvel movies if the superheroes use their powers all the time in the correct way. It's the same reason, right?
But it's like you can still be creative and find ways to do something like that. Like I think in The Last Jedi, there's a scene where somebody hyperdrived through another spaceship, and then everyone was like, "Holy shit! How come nobody ever thought of that before?" And it's just like, yeah, I feel like there's room for people to be creative with that and not have it ruin the narrative.
I mean, it's even like Lord of the Rings. Why didn't they just take the bird all the way?
Well, there's
like,
memes of that. Yeah.
So I mean, like, because there wouldn't be a journey.
The meme, exactly right. Narratively, it just doesn't.
But then when they do, like in the newest, so Star Trek, the newer one, the Chris Pine one, the first one.
Which one? Oh, the first one. Okay.
The first Chris Pine one.
All right.
There's that part where he's like, they abandon him on that ice planet, and that's where he finds
Old Spock.
And then they beam him onto the ship from the planet while it's going in hyperspace, and they've been traveling for like.
But they have a couple lines of like, oh, I have to take this into. I have to
But that was
factor
still
that.
a continuity, like a huge continuity
Not
issue.
just that, it's just like, okay, I have to do all this. Okay, good. So now that you can do that, and you
Well,
know
why don't
how,
you do it again?
do
Why don't-
that, like,
Well, Khan beams from
Khan from the Klingon planet
yeah
to
into a jail cell.
into space.
Oh, into space.
Yeah.
But yes, yeah. I think it's kind
I
of a
think
dangerous precedent almost.
I think there's also a lot of rules that they have to follow.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't just be transporting every 2 seconds.
Okay, maybe
And,
they
like,
do. Maybe the good guys. But
Yeah.
what about the Klingons and the
As
Romulans
long
and
as they
everyone
have
else?
it defined, I think it's good because you get like going back to Star Wars, the Force can just do anything now, and it's like now it's narratively it's weird. So it's like I don't care what their technology says. Like if they say blah blah blah, we can't transport onto moving ships because of this reason, I'll accept it as long as your rules are defined and it's like now I understand what I can and cannot do in this universe and that.
Yeah.
But the
gives you
rules
tension.
aren't really defined. But
They're better defined than in other sci-fi franchises.
Or if
Yeah.
they could say like, oh, you can't keep using the transporters. Like this person can't keep using the transporters because it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
you're
you
like
get transporter psychosis,
You're-
like in the one
you lose
TNG
an hour
episode.
of your life.
Oh, is
or
this
something.
actually a thing that happens?
Radiation.
Well, I just said that as kind of a joke. I mean, it does happen. It's like a transporter-based disease. Remember Barclay thinks he has transporter psychosis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he's
Well, there's
paranoid.
also
so.
it's the whole reason the Doctor in the original series like refused to take a transporter. He was
McCoy.
like, put me in a ship. Like
I actually forgot that about that part about
But
him.
there's also scenes where like you see them trying to transport people in different ways, and then like when they get to the other side, their insides are outside, and
There's a
several
great scene of that in
different-
Galaxy Quest.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, I think there's a lot of science behind it, and I'm not a scientist, so I'm not gonna question them.
Or
Well-
like, what if the fly effect where
you
use the
merge.
transporter, or like that happened to Neelix and Tuvok in
Yeah.
Voyager.
Yeah.
Tuvix or whatever they call them. Yeah.
Alrighty. What's the next?
Or what?
Oh wait, did we even get into our the ones we don't like?
Pretty much like, yeah, you guys said Wrath of Khan is the one you guys liked. Is there any other movies that stand out?
The Voyage.
Voyage Home?
The Voyage Home, yes.
The Whales?
The Whales one.
The Whales one. I just thought that was so, I mean, I get it. Maybe they were like, oh my god, we can shoot with whales now. And like, hey, let's use our transporter technology to a different degree and whatever. But it was just the randomest thing. They're just like, oh no, this weird orb, it only speaks humpback whale. Oh no, they're extinct. Let's just go around this planet, go back in time. And I mean, I thought it was comical and everything, but at the same time, I was just kind of like, come on, guys.
So you didn't like it? Okay.
From
At first I was
watching-
trying to. I thought Carson asked what ones you liked.
Yeah.
I did.
Anyway.
That's what I asked.
Yeah. So
Well, I
you did not like it.
Yeah.
I like
Okay.
the concept, which is evident because I used it for one of the scenarios I gave you guys for later in, with a slight tweak. But my second favorite one, which I would say is probably like 1 and 1A with Wrath of Khan, is Undiscovered Country. Because I felt like it was that good combination of what you were talking about, the characters. You had this sci-fi scenario of the Klingons and they're trying to build a peace treaty, but somebody's trying to undo it.
Conspiracy theory
Yeah.
stuff, or not just theory.
And it
actual
was a good
conspiracy.
send-off to the original series characters, so they wanted to give those guys a good
You
ending.
stole what I was gonna say.
Well, I also hated the Generations.
Yes.
That was terrible. It just kept being things that they wouldn't do, like Data wanting to suddenly put his like personality chip in. It
So
was just
I
kind
never
of like,
watched the Next Gen TV show, and so that movie, like when I rewatched it a couple months ago, was my introduction to Data. And so they did all these things about like, oh, now he's putting a personality chip, but I never had an introduction to him where it's
The
like, oh,
reference
that's
point.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
whereas
that's
like
unfortunate.
you would think it was hilarious if you watched the entire TNG, because there are so many times where he fails to understand human interaction. But if you had only seen that, but at the same time, like him just being like, you know what, it's been 30 or so years, let's just throw it in, and then I'm gonna go back to active duty. Like that's not something he would do. And just William Shatner just suddenly being in the abyss of like,
In the Nexus.
yes, and suddenly just being like, oh, I'm in heaven pretty much, but you want me to go with you?
Okay.
I'm gonna be tough about it for a minute, and then suddenly I'm just gonna
It's like,
change my mind.
oh no, the horse ride didn't feel as exhilarating.
Yeah, my
as it should've.
testicles are in too much pain. I need a doctor. Like, I don't know. It just, there were so many things there that didn't make sense.
From
But I
never
feel
watching
like-
it sounds insane.
You ever watch Star Trek Generations?
I have
Oh
not.
man.
I felt that it was reasonable for Kirk to not want to be there because there's a side of Kirk of like, I need to be in action, I need to be a captain.
Yeah,
But they didn't tell that story well
they
enough.
didn't at all.
But I would have believed that character arc, just not the way they told it. What do you guys think about the God one?
So
Which
that's
one was that?
5. The final
Final
frontier.
Frontier.
Final
Yeah.
Frontier.
So you know what? Okay, that's one of the 4 of the original series that I watched in preparation, and I went into that thinking I would hate it, but you know what? It wasn't actually that bad. It certainly wasn't as bad as the motion picture as Star Trek 1. I thought there were some interesting character moments, and again, the character moments are what I really like. Like when the big 3, when Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, they go camping. They go to Yosemite. So they're on Earth and they're camping, and there's like some really good, you know, character connection going on right there. And then at the very end, then they go back to Yosemite and they sing "Row, Row, Row Your Boat."
That was really bad. That was probably like my least favorite moment in all of Star Trek movies.
Really? I don't know. I thought it was really endearing. I kind of liked it.
It's just really weird for like 3 grown men to be singing "Row, Row, Row Your Boat" under a campfire.
I liked it.
It's like just them enjoying each other's company
And Spock originally refused to sing it at the beginning, and at the end he sang
They're
it.
just look, they've been through so much. Spock died, they found him again, and
Regrew
Yeah.
him.
The actual end of the movie when God does make an appearance, that was kind of like,
Well,
didn't work.
but it wasn't that, I don't know who it was, but it wasn't it wasn't that bad, as bad as I remembered.
I have the same overall impression, but for different reasons. Of I knew it was one of the bad ones that people hated, so I went in expecting to hate it, and I was like, this is kind of interesting. Like, it's not terrible, except for the Row, Row, Row Your Boat.
Which one's the one where Kirk dies?
Generations.
Is that Generations?
Yes.
Wait, is that after the Row, Row, Row Your Boat one?
Yeah.
Yes. So it's how many movies after? It's like
So it's
3
the
movies?
7th movie. So in the 6th one, Undiscovered Country, they basically do a big farewell to the original crew, and then in the
Yeah.
7th movie, they bring them back.
They bring back three of them.
Yeah, the 3 they could get.
The 3,
Oh.
yeah. Nimoy flatly refused because he basically was like, and good on him for doing that, I think, because
He held out until 2007.
well, yes.
Or
What his argument for not coming back for Generations was like there was nothing that my character said or did in the script that really made him Spock. Like they could have given those lines to anyone, and in fact they did.
Oh.
Is what Nimoy said. He said they just gave it to someone
Who'd
else.
they give it to?
He didn't say.
Okay.
In an interview, he said like, yeah, because it wasn't Spock.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Which I kind of get, because it just seemed like the last few movies that they were in, they weren't really themselves. They were just like there kind of as the admirals, just being like, oh, I'll just sit here and say the lines you need me to say.
And then after, I'll fall off a bridge.
Exactly. I'll ride a horse.
Fall off a bridge. Wait, so you
That's Kirk.
you haven't seen it, but
I've seen
you know.
like, bits of
Oh, okay,
all
right.
of these
So you've
movies.
seen the end of when he died.
He's seen the memes of all.
I didn't even know that was a meme. I actually just watched that part on YouTube.
the last fight.
Well, for how dramatic he's been throughout the entire TV show and the movies, I was very surprised by that
Yeah.
weak death. Like, it was just kind of like, really? You're not
So-
going to say live long and prosper or something to that?
Give your life
extent?
for someone.
As someone who has never watched the original series, like there's all these like well-known like memes or whatever about William Shatner overacting. I didn't feel like he was overacting in any of the movies. I don't know if it's worse in
I
the show,
agree with
but I didn't
that.
feel
Well,
like.
no, so as I was saying, if you look at TV shows going on around the same period, his overacting was literally what was expected of him. So I wouldn't really say that he was overacting. It was more so that is what they expected out of TV. They didn't want you to be the casual, everyday person that everyone else has around.
They wanted you to be dramatic.
Yeah, they wanted a play going on TV. That was what was going on in the period of time. So I feel like once the movies came around, he was finally at the point in television and whatnot where he could be the normal person a little bit more.
But yeah, it's definitely not there. You guys are right. He's toned down, like he's calm in the movies.
He's
old.
Like a human
yeah.
He's old.
Okay, any last comments about the Star Trek movies before we go talk about characters?
Oh, we didn't talk about Nemesis at all, which is like the only one that I've
Go on.
Yeah, go on. What do you think?
I don't have much to say about it, except at the time I had no idea that was Tom Hardy, which is amazing to me.
Shinzon.
Hey guys, it's Shinzon.
And actually, when I was, I don't know what year that was, and I was like
I
maybe.
want to say it's like 99, 98-ish.
Okay, so it was like
2002.
Oh, wow.
13 years old.
Same as Attack of the Clones.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, so I was like 13 years old, and for some reason I thought that Shinzon and Patrick Stewart looked so much alike that it was hard for me to believe that they were not the same person.
Really?
I was just a really dumb kid, I guess. That's all I have to say about that.
That's all I have to say about that.
All right, let's move on. Okay, so next segment we're going to talk about characters. I have some questions for the group here of, like, for example, what character would you want to do, like, whatever with? That sounds bad.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm trying not to use the questions I have yet. Anyway, so I have questions. We're going to talk about some of our favorite characters. You guys can talk about TV characters if you want from Deep Space Nine or from Voyager. I'm only going to talk about the movies because that's all I know. So yeah, let's get into it. I'll start with kind of an easy intro one. Which captain? It doesn't have to be a captain in the show, but what Star Trek character would you want to have be your captain or your boss or the leader of sorts?
I've always been a big fan of Captain Sisko. So this is from Deep Space Nine. I find him very pragmatic and rational, and he's not a diplomat like Picard, but he's just willing to do what's necessary, I think.
I feel like Sisko is my current boss, in terms of being cold.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't say
We won't be advertising this episode around the way.
No, well, I mean, he's general counsel. Like, he can't really, I don't know.
Can't have emotion.
Yeah, exactly. Like in our day to day. No, I'm just kidding. He's never gonna listen to this. But no, have you guys seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine? So the captain in that.
Captain Holt.
Yes, Captain Holt is basically like the embodiment of my boss, kind of in certain ways.
And is that what Sisko is like?
From what I remember, I mean, I haven't seen.
He's a badass.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Oh wait, he's the big black dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's black. He's bald.
Yeah.
Go on.
He looks like a bitch. Okay, sorry.
I didn't know where that was from at first, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
We've had another Dan moment.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
My boss doesn't look like him, just so you know.
He doesn't look like a bitch.
No.
Sorry, way off.
No, I like Captain Picard. Oh my gosh, my computer's charging right now. So who is the captain in Voyager?
Janeway.
Janeway. So I really like Janeway, but I just found that the fact that she was female almost was overused. I understand that, they were thrown away from home, they might not ever get home, and so the rule book and everything doesn't really fit to the extent that it would have with the other captains. But I did find that sometimes the emotional and kind of human aspect of her job was overplayed a little bit, and so she was almost too emotional at times.
Really?
At times.
I don't know about that.
There were other times where she was like a hard ass, and I was like, yes, woman. But I don't know, I found, I guess, kind of in the earlier seasons, she was playing off of too many emotions and like, oh, this is for honor and this is for this, and instead of kind of coming at it from like no, we need to stay Star Trek. We need to.
You know, so the thing when I look at Janeway, the reason I wouldn't pick her as, what was the question again? Who would want to be our captain? Right. Is her over adherence, her rigid adherence to the rules. Because in the very first episode of Voyager, that's when they get sent to the Delta Quadrant, right, against their will, and they had a way to get back. And obviously, it wouldn't have made much of a TV series if they could get back right away. It's like, oh, it's one episode long, yay, we're done. But she's like, the Prime Directive means we can't use this. And it's like, are you effing serious? Are you fucking serious?
And then they blow it up, right?
Yeah, they blow it up, and I'm like, are you insane? The whole crew in real life, the whole crew would be like, mutiny. You know what I mean?
They create conflict with the crew and the captain. That's it up for the season.
But you see, Sisko would have been like, fuck the Prime Directive. I'm taking my crew home, right?
True.
The pragmatic approach.
I guess I just really like the crew in TNG as well.
Yes.
Like, it's not just Picard. Like,
the whole crew.
Just the whole dynamic between them all. But just the whole dynamic between them all, like, you almost felt like you were a part of like a family in some way. So I guess that's what I'm really saying about my boss, in a way.
Oh, good save.
That we're like family. I know. But yeah, so I guess Picard would be my choice after
I would
that
also pick
ramble.
Picard.
Quick question on Picard. What was his flaw? Like, did he? He
didn't really associate with people very well. Like, he was kind of off on his own. He was like, you guys correct me if I'm wrong here, but he was like, we're gonna do the right thing. I'm logical, I'm strategic, but I'm not friends with anybody.
Was it really?
Especially in the early first couple seasons, he was cold.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you remember that? Like he was a dick in the first season. He kind of was.
Well, I guess that's another thing that Janeway also, when they would go on shore leave and stuff, she would like join them and stuff, and that's just where I draw the line.
Right. The captain shouldn't be.
Yeah, the
hanging
captain
out with,
should be doing their own kind of thing, and so he kind of liked classical music and kind of was like an old
a refined,
man.
cultured.
Okay.
Yes.
Because he did. Yeah, that makes him seem like, to me, from what I had seen in TNG, is that he was just like perfect captain.
But I think, he kind of put aside ever having a family, like, he kind of says that in one of, I forget which movie he says it in, but he basically says, like, it was all about duty and, like, the job, and so, I mean, it's the same thing happened with Kirk. He kind of never put time aside for family, and so your life kind of becomes your job in a way.
But going back to your point around, like, him being perfect, isn't that supposed to be part of what Star Trek was designed to be, of, like, the characters are good at their jobs, the drama doesn't come from them having flaws, it's more from the scenarios? That was the big idea with Gene Roddenberry?
Yes.
It doesn't, like, it definitely got very far away from it, because you can't have that much drama without some character drama. Like, but
I don't mean like I expected him to have a flaw, it's just because all the other captains that I know of had something, like, for example, Janeway, when she, like, would lose it, she was a little, like, emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Or Captain Newkirk is like the rebel who doesn't follow
the frat boy.
Yeah, and New Spock is like, he only follows the rules.
Oh, does the captain have to be a captain?
No.
Because I would go with Spock.
Because that's who I was gonna pick.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, just gonna.
No, it's okay. I've always been partial to like the Vulcan logical approach.
The purity of thought.
Yeah.
I don't know, he's kind of dumb sometimes for being super logical. Like, he's a great person to have on your crew.
But
I don't
you
think
really
I'd
want
him
in charge.
Like, I could totally see him being like, all right, we're gonna all kill ourselves in a ship because that's the logical thing to do. Like,
okay, or Data. Data would be a good captain too.
I don't know. I just.
He definitely does good in the few cases when he was put in command.
Mhm.
Data.
But the only thing is, all you have to do is like put in an extra processor or something and he's screwed. But I guess you could just stab one of the captains and they're screwed. So.
Or one EMP and
yeah.
there's no leadership.
But there's always something in Star Trek.
No,
there's always
okay,
something.
I'll
He'll
pick-
have backup systems that'll kick it. There's always some Trekno babble.
I'll pick.
Yes.
Okay, so kind of opposite
Really
end of the
badass.
spectrum on questions here. So imagine you're part of a Star Trek crew. You have to go on like a 3-month survey mission on a planet. So like really just hang out with just like you and one other person. Which Star Trek character would you want to go on with?
Data.
Really?
Data. Because he's great because
He'd be like taking Google with you.
yes, that's basically it. It's he will engage you as much as you want him to engage you. So you want to talk to someone, he'll talk to you. If you don't want to talk to anyone, you just say, Data, I don't want to talk to anyone, and he'll just be quiet. He won't say a word to you. The perfect
You just
companion.
want to command your companion.
Basically like having Siri with you.
Yeah.
That wouldn't annoy you like after a month or two of like no real human contact?
Bless you.
I mean, I would probably play video games or something.
Could you use Data to play video games?
Sure.
Would you program him to be a little bit worse than you?
Nah, wait a minute. Wait. There's an episode in Next Generation where someone actually beats Data at a game, at like a game
legitimately?
involving. Yeah, remember that game, Lauren, where there's like that asshole alien who's like the Stratagemma, I think that's what it's called, expert, and it's that game where they put the
Oh
the
yeah,
things
with
on
the fingers, yeah.
and he's going like this, and then he actually beats Data. So it's thinking and motor functions, and he actually beats Data. And then Data causes a crisis. Anyway, didn't want to get off the rails there, but yeah, no, I think Data would be great.
I choose McCoy.
Why?
One, he's a doctor, so when I inevitably hurt myself. But I don't know, it just seems like a chill guy.
Do you hurt yourself all the time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wait, so this is just like a general mission?
Like a mission where you're not interacting with the rest of society. I'm imagining something like you're observing another
Like
culture,
isolated- okay, yeah.
but like you're just hanging out with one person.
Oh, okay, that changes my answer. Then I need to think about this because I was thinking of like just chilling and having fun.
I would
It's not the road trip question.
Oh right, okay, I'll save. So
If it was just chilling and having fun, who would it be?
I was gonna pick either Tom Paris.
I know, I was saying
Actually-
like Paris would have great stories.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just
that's
get
a
like
good one.
drunk.
Who's
and-
that?
He's the pilot in
Of
Voyager.
Hmm.
And he's kind of like a hot shot. He's a bro.
Yeah.
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 As bros go.
Okay, you go ahead for.
Well, no, I was gonna say Guinan if it's for fun because Whoopi Goldberg was like amazing. So, and her character sounds so. She's been alive for a really long time. I don't know.
She definitely would have interesting conversations.
Mhm.
Like you'd have cool philosophical stuff to talk about.
Surprised none of you decided on Leslie Crusher. I'm totally
Are we
kidding.
really surprised? Yeah.
Who is that?
I don't know who that is.
What,
Will
Will
Wheaton.
Wheaton.
I don't know.
Will
I know-
Wheaton's character.
I actually don't know who Will Wheaton is.
Oh, you don't
I've heard
watch
the name.
Oh
Big
my
Bang Theory?
goodness.
Click on him.
Will Wheaton, he did
He's
not
the
age
annoying.
well.
He's the annoying kid. Like the young kid.
Okay, no, I did, yeah.
And
Yeah,
Picard would always say, "Shut up, Wesley."
I think he said it once, but like,
Once or twice. Come on.
My stupid answer was gonna be like 7 of 9 or something like that.
Why?
you
Why
just
is that?
say that everything
why is
that you're doing is
Hey,
like,
Paulo.
Yeah.
Paulo, why her?
No, I'm just kidding. That's my stupid answer. I would pick the Doctor from Voyager, the hologram.
Mm.
I get annoyed at him after a while, I think.
It's along the same lines as Carson's answer, where I would need a lot of help.
I don't get
he's
it.
like a
I don't
Swiss
get it.
Army
What, you
knife.
can't like walk through the forest or whatever while you're surveying
No,
the planet?
If you're on an alien planet though, like you don't know what the vegetation does. You
Dude,
don't know.
have
Yeah, but
you
you
seen
have
Star
a
Trek?
tricorder.
Have you seen Star Trek? They all look like Earth, basically.
It's basically like
These different
he's
biomes
a
of Earth.
tricorder, and
Yeah.
he could like just do all the work, and I'll just chill. And
Walk behind and just be like, all right,
Yeah.
you lead, pal. That's why I'm bringing Data. He can
like
do
look at
everything.
things. Yeah.
But Data could be the Doctor.
But
He could be the explorer type. He could be the tricorder wielding guy.
Okay, so changing it up again. What character would you never want to go for dinner with? Not like on a date, but just like pretty much never would want to hang out with.
Neelix.
Really?
Neelix would be hilarious.
Oh.
Or is that a joke?
No.
You're just saying that.
So I'm gonna
I mean,
say.
a Ferengi. That would be frustrating.
So I was gonna say, as someone who's only watched the movies, I would say Data, because Data is super annoying in all the movies.
The movies, he's not all that great. It's true.
And like he's got that personality chip, and he's kind of like going over eccentric a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Is it bad that I would say Uhura?
That's awful.
Well, no, I just
No.
mean like as a feminist, like I feel like I should say it because she had the first interracial on-screen kiss and she really moved mountains. But honestly, as a character, like all she did was just go like,
Hailing frequency.
yeah,
open.
like hello, can you answer? Can you answer? Sorry, they're not answering. Like, I don't know. She didn't have.
You think
In the movies, I didn't really watch the TV show, so who knows? Maybe she had a bigger role, but in the movies, like there was no character depth in her.
Yeah, I mean the movies tended to focus on like the 2-3 main characters.
Yeah.
I mean it was like that for Next Generation movies too.
I feel like
It's all
that's
cars,
why
right?
shows like Top Gear or wait, what is it called now? The Auto Show with the.
Oh, so Top Gear is still called Top Gear, but the guys who are on Top Gear made their own show.
Yeah.
Called like the Grand Adventure, something
Yeah.
like that.
No, but like that's the thing. People don't like the show because they're like, oh, I don't like cars, but it's actually just the three old men like bitching at each other, which
Yeah.
is the best part of the show. So they basically just did that with Star Trek, and it worked again.
Paul, anything to contribute?
I'm thinking.
So who are you
You
doing? Okay, so this sounds I don't know if sounds bad, but yeah, Dr. Crusher I would not want to hang out with. I always found her just very annoying.
Who's Dr. Crusher?
The doctor on
The redhead.
the redhead doctor from
Her.
Next Generation.
Why? What's wrong with her?
I mean, her presence in the movies was also next to.
Yeah, next to nil. So, but like I said, this might sound bad, but I was never partial to the to the two female characters on TNG, to Troy and Dr. Crusher. I just didn't find them all that interesting.
Troy I found frustrating sometimes, especially when she broke up with Worf. I was like, that's the best thing that's ever happened
that was
to you.
wicked.
Until when she got married to Riker, I was just like,
That was just a cheap.
screw
That was just a
this.
cheap plot move. You know what I mean? Like, oh, let's play it safe and throw that back in there.
But that's one thing that I found in the past is like movies have never given much character depth to women to beyond being the annoying girlfriend or the annoying over emotional person or the annoying kind of motherly character. And so now in movies, or I don't know, like in not Lord of the Rings so much, but in Game of Thrones, like the women actually have as much depth as everyone else does. So I mean, I can totally understand why you would find them frustrating. 'Cause I don't like them either.
Yeah. Indeed.
That's a good point, actually. Even new Uhura in the new Joy Self.
Yeah, of course
Yeah.
she's got a strong presence.
No.
And
No.
No,
really?
like,
She's a really weak
she's
character.
Spock's girlfriend.
True. Okay. Well, you know what I was thinking.
Character.
You know what I was thinking is the very first time you see her in the first Star Trek when they're at the bar and she's like saying Psh, whatever, buddy, to Kirk. Sorry, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, but
yeah, you're right. You're right.
ends.
I guess that's it.
Yeah, like they
Yeah.
were always
What
like
about all the movies.
all the women were always just like
Yeah.
someone's sister, lover, mother, whatever. It was never like they really had their own. This is me talking out of my ass because I bet they did at some point. But I don't know. It never seemed like there was real character depth like the other people. And they were never fun. They were never like, come on to the holodeck and let's go on a beach vacation. It was always like, take me on a date in the holodeck.
Well,
Like, oh, we don't do fun stuff in the holodeck.
Janeway did. A little
Oh
bit.
my God, that's another
That's-
reason
yeah.
why I wouldn't want to go for lunch with her or anything. Like, She wanted to go back to Victorian ages where she literally had no rights. Like, why? I guess
You're
I guess
talking
if you're in the 23rd century, you're like, hey, I want to, or 24th, I don't remember.
Whatever, 24th. Yeah.
I guess she would be like, hey, I want to see what this is like. I want to see what the suffrages really were going through.
Are you talking about what? Also, because she had that program, that holodeck program with Da Vinci. Wait, not Da Vinci.
That sounds
Wait, wasn't it Rice Davies? How do you say his name? Gimli?
Jonathan Rhys Davies.
Yeah, he played. I think it was Da Vinci. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because she liked, because she found him fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, I could be getting this wrong, but I think it's Da Vinci. And Seven of Nine, remember she brings Seven of Nine into the program to help teach, just like with Data. Seven of Nine was basically the Data.
She was Data, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So like learning to be human, right?
Yeah. All this to say, you helped me pick my answer. I wouldn't want to go to Daredevil Janeway.
Okay, last question before we end off this segment. Which character would you want to have be your wingman or wingwoman?
Paris.
Riker.
I don't know. He never really helped Harry.
That's
Kim
true.
that much.
But Harry also had like zero game.
He was hopeless.
Yeah.
I mean, you could always have like Data or Spock there to be like he's a weirdo. Hi, I'm Lauren. Like
but
that.
then they would
kind
like
of.
ruin it, but by accident.
That's true. I don't know. I find when a wingman makes them, because I love being a wingman all the time. So I just act like the weird one, and then they're like, excuse my friend, let's go be normal somewhere. And then it just seems...
Provides the contract.
Exactly.
So who would be better, Data or Spock?
Data.
I think Data.
Yeah.
Because you could tell Data exactly what to do.
I think Spock wouldn't know when to leave.
Yeah.
Spock would just stay
Why
there.
are you nudging me?
Like, and then they're like, don't you need to go to the bathroom? That would be illogical.
That'd be illogical because I don't actually have to go.
Yeah.
Who did you say?
I didn't. I don't know. Like, I feel like you want someone who's not like a total weirdo. You want somebody who's like kind of charismatic to start conversations. Because I can't start conversations, so I need someone who would want to like kickstart the conversation, but then not take over the conversation.
That's why Paris would be good, but then he would take it over. So
Yeah.
This is like
Riker might do the same, but Riker is very charismatic and he's
But
a
I feel
proven
like
ladies man.
he's a little weird as well.
He is a little...
That's
weird.
good balance, right?
But
They're all a
but look
little
at his
bit weird.
record. He's like he sleeps with so many. Or wow, he could. It shows him go on dates all the time on TNG, right?
Yes.
He's always going on dates. Do you remember that episode where he tries to show Wesley like how to talk to women? And they sit down and this is in 10-4. They sit on the table and he brings Guinan over and he's talking to Guinan and they have that weird conversation where they just compliment each other.
Yeah. And then you're just kind of like, you guys need a room?
She's like, oh, you're putting me up on a pedestal. And he goes, then I'll learn to fly. And all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Wesley's like, this is Will Wheaton, right?
It made
Wesley's
me so uncomfortable.
Yeah, Wesley's like, I don't know, Commander, if this is right. And then Guinan turns to him and goes, shut up, Wesley.
But
tell me more about my mind.
But that's, I feel like, what makes him good, because, like, how many second dates did he go on?
I mean, they don't explicitly say, but...
Because I feel like they got sick of him, and then it's like, then I would be there to swoop in.
Yeah, exactly.
I would
see again. So you need a weirdo to make yourself look.
That's right.
But he's not totally weird. He's just after a while he weirds you out.
I don't know. I think if both of you with your beards were all like, hey, we have beards, it would just be like too much beard, and then they'd be like,
too much beard.
I don't know which beard I was talking to earlier.
Oh wow.
Whoa. Oh, us bearded guys in black, right?
Then I guess I shouldn't pick Sulu.
I
Why?
was actually gonna pick Sulu as well.
Oh.
Because Sulu, you're not threatened by him. He's very charismatic, but he's not going to steal it from you.
No, Sulu had a daughter.
Yeah, Sulu or George?
So in the
we're talking about George Takei.
Yeah, I'm talking about George Takei, but in the Kelvin timeline, he has a daughter, but it's adopted because he's gay.
Yeah.
So he's still gay.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if that applies to George Takei, Sulu.
I don't think so, but that's fine. It's a valid point, Carson, because it is in one of the movies.
Different timeline now.
I would pick new Kirk. New Captain Kirk, but after
the Pinester.
Yeah, but into darkness. Actually, no, he's too good looking. That
wouldn't
work out for me.
Oh wait, I would have to choose a female if.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
Oh yeah, gender is.
I was gonna say
fluid.
Chris Pine. You could you get like sloppy seconds after he
Oh
leaves.
my god.
You could be there like, oh, I'm sorry he did that to you.
Ah,
Oh my god. Play the long game.
Oh my goodness.
Terrible. No, I pick Scotty. Simon Pegg Scotty.
That would be fun.
It'd be a fun time.
Fun if nothing else.
If we
Yeah, I
if we
guess
strike
we
out,
should
we'll
have
just-
defined if we're going for women or men, because then that changes my decision on who my wingman would be.
Okay.
Let's have you guys picking up men. Who would your who would your wingman be? Ooh, the
Chris,
room
Chris
gets
Pine.
Yeah, Chris Pine would be good for that.
Yeah.
Because like I would go for similar methodology of wanting someone to start the conversation who wouldn't steal it from me, and I think Chris Pine would be good for that. Even Scotty as well.
And he would attract everyone to your vicinity.
But
Bring
I
all the
also,
boys to the yard, right?
it probably also depends like what type of guys you're looking for. Like, are you
That's
looking
true.
for like hairier guys versus like no? There's a lot of different types here. So
What's wrong with
I'm just trying to provide some contrast here.
Yeah.
I have nothing against
This is-
beards.
This is a perspective that we have not had yet on the podcast.
all right. Any last comments on this one before we end off this segment?
No.
That was bad.
All right, so our final segment of the day, you three have developed your own Star Trek franchises. So we're going to talk about those, and I have developed some sci-fi scenarios for you guys to walk through as well. So kind of, I guess, basic ground rules I gave to you guys. I wanted you guys to pick 5 crew members. Didn't have to be the traditional structure of a Star Trek franchise, so didn't need to have a captain and like second officer and all that, but I wanted you to pick 5 people that you could potentially play in a movie, but like multiple movies. Other than that, I wanted to give you as much freedom as possible to develop whatever type of franchise you wanted. So, before we get into the scenarios, I'm just going to give you an opportunity to say who is on your team, and maybe just a really quick intro of why you picked these people and kind of what the mood or theme or feeling of your franchise is going to be. So, Dan, you look like you're ready to go there.
I'm reared and ready to go. Okay, so this is my crew.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Okay, so I handed out a picture, a printout of an image that's photoshopped, of course. So to describe to everybody listening, and also during the YouTube posting, I think it would be great if Carson also had this image.
Yeah, I'm not
sort
going to
of
do that.
Why not, man? It's great.
Because we have one person who listens to us on YouTube,
Well, so for this
and
one
she's
person.
in the other room there. So.
Well, fine. Well, okay, so to describe it for everybody, okay, so it's basically Pulp Fiction meets Star Trek original series. So I have the faces of Pulp Fiction characters photoshopped over top of an old image of the original cast. So we've got Captain Jules Winfield, captain of the USS Bad Motherfucker. All right. We have as first officer and science officer, we have Commander Winston Wolfe, aka the Wolf. Then we have as security officer, we have Lieutenant Commander Vincent Vega. Then we also have Dr. Mia Wallace. And
You did a really good edit.
yeah, dude, Dubs did that.
Oh,
It's
okay.
pretty great.
Sorry, I don't want to cut you off too long, but it's hilarious that that you have to put Samuel L. Jackson's head on a white guy's
On
body.
Kirk's body. It's funny, right?
Yeah.
It's funny. I thought it was hilarious. And then finally we have Lieutenant Junior Grade Jimmy Dimmick, Chief Engineer. And for everybody, that's Tarantino's appearance in Pulp Fiction.
Oh boy.
So that's my crew. And they are themselves, like from the movie Pulp Fiction.
So
Okay.
presumably this is a very similar like feeling as Pulp Fiction, like style.
Yes, it is Pulp Fiction meets Star Trek.
There's no phasers, it's actual guns.
No.
When you get hit by a
Phasers.
phaser, is there blood in this version?
You explode.
Yes. It's like blood just sprays everywhere.
Okay.
Okay, Lauren, how about your team?
Okay.
You can show up. You have a
So,
picture.
yes. Okay.
Oh my god.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So I have Maya Rudolph as the commanding officer. I have Amelia Clark as the first officer.
Oh, that's Amelia Clark.
Yes. I have Laverne Cox as the chief medical officer. I have Lizzo as the tactical chief and security officer. I have Tina Belcher as the chief engineering officer, and I have Keanu Reeves as the communications officer. I think it's pretty good.
Wait, who's Laverne Cox again?
She was in Orange is the New Black. She's a transgender character, but also transgender in real life, and she's just one hell of a badass. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to basically bring characters to the show that have never really appeared, a transgender person and an all-female crew, with the communications officer for the first time being a male, because there's always been a female in the
She's
past.
like completely reversed.
Exactly, I wanted the opposite,
I can dig
the
it.
norm.
And my question is, so Tina Belcher, cartoon character. So how is that, like, is this like a CGI character? How you doing this? Is it like a live action version of her?
I was debating on having a human play her, but I feel like she just needs to be in the cartoon form.
Or she could be like a hologram.
Yes. Yeah, she could be a hologram.
Yeah, and they made her like cartoonish to
So they don't have like an alien
But it also
situation
works
where you
because
can't
she
tell.
can just go into the computers
yeah.
if she ever needs to fix
So they don't
something.
feel bad.
What's
that
her role
she's,
again?
She's the chief engineer.
Like
Okay.
if she has to go to the warp core, they don't feel bad that like a human is going there. It's like a hologram of a cartoon.
Yeah. So when they're
Yeah.
like, oh, like
She would
we
be
need more
impervious.
power, she'd be like, and it would just be perfect.
So, because she's in engineering, can she interact with the physical world?
Yes.
Sure. If there's like hollow emitters in the engineering, why
Yeah,
not? Why not?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. The doctor.
So yeah, that's my crew.
Cool.
I
All
just
right.
imagine it's like a wide shot of the bridge. They're in a battle. Like engineering, we need more power, and then like you over the intercom. Just,
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is a joke from the show. I've never seen the show.
Oh my god.
Paulo, how about your team?
All right, can you pull up my picture? Because I don't have.
On
Okay,
your
so
phone.
while Carson's pulling up the picture, so it's thanks. Here you go. So we have John Boyega and Chris Pratt as security officers. Paul Rudd is a janitor. Rose Byrne is a medical assistant, and Jewel Stady
Stadia, I think.
from Firefly is in engineering, and they're playing themselves.
All right.
So the concept of this movie is like This Is the End, where they're all playing themselves, but they were like they were at Fan Expo or like Comic-Con or something like that, and then they accidentally switched places with the crew members of this of this starship, but it's like a really strict like.
It's like a Galaxy Quest situation.
It's
sort
like
of.
a Galaxy Quest situation, but they're not there. They're like they have to pretend to be the actual crew. They don't like the actual crew doesn't know who they are because they're from another planet, but they're humanoid, so it works. And like it's a really strict start. It's like called the HMS Annihilation or something. It's like the Into Darkness the
Vengeance or
the
whatever.
Vengeance, yeah.
Yeah.
So like if they screw up, like when they first get on the ship, they see someone screw up, and that person gets like whipped and then like shot into space. So it's like, oh my god, we have to
Super harsh treatment.
Yeah, we can't get off the ship. We just have to pretend using our actor knowledge of the sci-fi movies we've been in to pretend to be part of the crew.
Are you going for comedic though? I'm assuming with that cast.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you guys make any of your characters alien species?
Nope.
They're actually themselves, so no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same with mine are
I
actual
was
fictional
debating
characters.
on changing. I was wondering which one would be Vulcan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was waiting to see if any of you guys are going to do that. That's fine, not necessary. Okay, so also I guess you mentioned that it's the real people and they're just somehow there. You've mentioned it's actually the people from Pulp Fiction. I'm not gonna test you guys on how this happens. I'm just it's there. It happens.
Good.
Whatever. Okay, so 3 scenarios that I prepared that I kind of wanted you to tell me what does this look like in your universe. So I've given you kind of like the first act of a movie where it's like here's a scenario that happens. You can resolve this issue in any number of ways. It could be comedic, it could be through action, and this is how we're going to get to know your teams. Unlike our previous episodes, this isn't a competition about whose team is the best. It's
Mine is.
make an interesting movie. So give a scenario that this is something we would actually want to go to the movies and watch because your team is interesting. So okay, I'll read out the first scenario and then we'll see how you guys came up with for what's next. So scenario 1. While on a deep space mission, your crew suddenly encounters a massive spaceship, more than 20 times the size of your own. Before you can hail the other ship, an EMT knocks out your ship and all of your communications and weapons. Missiles strike your ship, but instead of exploding, they pierce the hull of your ship and fill it with gas that knocks everyone unconscious. Your crew, just the 5 or 6 people that you guys specified, wake up a few hours later in their spaceship. You have no weapons or tools on you. You discover that the aliens who did this to you, they're like 20 feet tall, they're super massive, super tough. They've captured you basically to keep you as their pet. They provide you with comfy accommodations, healthy meals, room for exercise and activities. So think like what we provide to cats and dogs today. You can mostly roam around the ship freely, but their technology is too advanced for you. You can't really attack them. Like they're 20 feet tall, they would just destroy you. They don't really want to hurt you unless you give them a reason to, but you can't leave. So in your movie with your teams, what happens next? For this one, how about Paulo? You go first.
Okay, so when this first happens, my crew or the actors, they wake up on the ship and they're like, okay, thank God we're off that nightmare over there, and then they wake up to these 20-foot tall, terrifying aliens. But then once they realize that they want to just like keep them as pets, they're actually really cool with it. For like various reasons, like John Boyega, who's like sick of all the hate for Star Wars, he's like, this is awesome. Just, like I'm having people wait on me and everyone loves me. I just have to chill. And like Jewel Stays, like I haven't been in a movie since like 2005, so she makes a play with the rest of the actors for these aliens, and then they start acting and like putting on shows.
You're putting on a show for the
yeah.
aliens.
So they're fully embracing the pet lifestyle.
They're leading into it. They love it. But then Paul Rudd he's for some reason he's still like in his janitor act. Because I guess he was just so terrified of the other ship, so he's like cleaning things up one day, and then he notices that like the aliens are pretty like messed up, and they're torturing members of the other crew from before and stuff like that. So he's like, guys, we got to get out of here. And then there's like a quick montage of like some half-assed escape attempts, which all fail spectacularly in comedic fashion. And like they all try to sit on each other's shoulders and pretend to be an alien because they're like 20 feet tall, whatever, stuff like that. And then
just like the cloak over top.
Yeah.
So
and then when they've given up and they're just resigned to like, okay, we're not gonna get out, let's just chill. The other ship comes back to save their crew because they think that they're part of their crew, so they come back and they attack the aliens. There's this giant battle going on, and then they haven't a chance to escape. This is like the climax of the movie. They have a chance to escape, but right when they're about to get to the escape pod, John Boyega and Jewel Stacy shoot them, and they're like, no, we're staying. And then it ends with just them two like chilling with the aliens for.
And this is with the knowledge that they could end up being tortured, and who knows what else, like the previous crew, like you said.
Yeah, but because they were being tortured because they were like disobedient.
Okay, I see. Gotcha.
And that's like, yeah.
Because they were resisting.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's not where I expected that to go.
Yeah, seriously.
But that's what I wanted. I wanted you guys to come up with creative stuff. Lauren, what does your movie look like?
Okay, so I figured that they would see other people there being held as pets as well, and they would see that the other people have either gone crazy or they're being sedated, or they're on some kind of crazy juice kind of thing. And so they don't want to participate in that. So then Keanu Reeves tries to speak to the aliens since he's a communications officer, and so that from there he starts getting tortured, and so they're like, oh no, we have to save him, our poor little communications officer. And so they basically like trick the aliens kind of in the whole Kirk and Spock thing where they like confuse everyone, and so then they just save everybody, and they save little Keanu.
It's all
So they get
about
off the
saving little Keanu.
Will they get off the ship?
Oh yeah, no, they like own everything, and they're just a bunch of badasses, and it's great.
Cool.
Yeah, and they're all like feminism.
As they're busting out the escape pod or whatever.
And of course, Tina the entire time is like, and like Lizzo's just like, sorry, I'm nobody's bitch. I'm that bitch. So, yeah.
All right.
Does she sing at all in the movie?
Yes, she does the soundtrack.
Like, 'cause when you said juice, like the sedation juice.
Oh yeah, that's
Her
where it
song.
actually came from.
Okay.
Dan, how about you?
Okay, cool. So my Pulp Fiction crew. So I'm envisioning the movie as being something like The Great Escape. So it starts where Jules, so Sammy J, he starts a super aggressive. He thinks threatening the aliens will work. He asks the aliens if they know what Admiral Wallace looks like. But that doesn't work. So eventually the crew decides that it would be best if they try to work together. So this is how it plays out. So Jimmy distracts the aliens by offering them some of his gourmet Raktajino, which is Klingon coffee. Vincent and Mia distract the aliens with a twist dance.
Oh my goodness.
Meanwhile, the linchpin in the whole plan is Wolf, who uses, in typical Star Trek fashion, uses his technical know-how to just magically manipulate a panel on the wall to sort of like, let them out or whatever. Yeah, so because it's a very Star Trekian thing to have someone who can just like magically figure out the solution, almost like a Deus Ex Machina type thing. Like it's always Data or Spock or one of those that just kind of magically figures out, oh, Captain, we need to do this now, and then they just do it.
I thought you said Data Sex Machine.
That's what I heard. I'm just like, this must be something I didn't see.
But yeah, and the end result is everyone manages to escape to the bad motherfucker, except Vincent, because I forgot to mention this earlier, but he's a red shirt, so he gets killed.
Who does?
In the bathroom.
Vincent. No, not this time.
Wait, Vincent Vega's a red shirt?
Yeah, look at the picture.
Oh yeah, he is. Like literally. Well, yeah. Jeez.
He looks so like I don't want to be here in that
What about
picture
Mia?
too. Well, she's like over Uhura's body, but she's the doctor.
Okay.
I just put Mia over Uhura's body
Yeah.
because
She had boobs.
because she's female. What's wrong with that?
It's fine. I put Keanu's face on Uhura's body.
So is the ship formally called the USS Bad Motherfucker, or is it
Yes.
like crossed out with like some other name and then like written on top?
No, it's called that because Jules said to Starfleet, he said, I won't do this unless you make it that name. I think something about Sammy J said, I won't do Snakes on a Plane if you change the name.
I know, I was waiting for you to be like, I'm so tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. Like, I was waiting for that.
Dan's done that many times.
Yeah. Just listen to one of the other podcast episodes.
Do you guys have any comments on each other's pet proposal movie?
I like where yours went.
Thank you.
I thought that they were gonna get out and then they get shot.
Left turn.
It was a nice plot twist.
And it's like it's a commentary on the state of movie criticism today.
So is mine, technically.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's
Second
legit.
scenario. I told you earlier I had stolen one of the scenarios from A Voyage Home, and this is basically I think it is A Voyage Home. So in A Voyage Home, they have like random alien spaceship shows up and they need to talk to whales. So I've kind of twisted that around a little bit. Basically, in this scenario, a strange alien spaceship arrives on Earth's doorstep, and they're like a alien warrior race that they want to take their greatest warrior and challenges another race's greatest warrior. They've seen NBA broadcasts be broadcast into space, and they've seen LeBron James, and they think this guy clearly must be the greatest warrior of the human race, and so we want to challenge him, and whoever wins, like they'll be fine. It's just like a competition. But if you don't do this competition, we'll destroy Earth. This is also like 300 years after LeBron James lived. So your crew has been kind of tasked with this. We will assume that Paulo, your crew is not pets on some other spaceship. They're just now a crew again.
They're not. Sorry, what?
They're not. This isn't a continuum. They're not still on a pet spaceship somewhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Starfleet has come to you and be like, okay, guys, you need to solve this issue. So what does this movie look like for you?
Give them Captain Panaka.
Oh my god.
Dan, how about you go first?
Sorry, guys, I had to throw that in there for you too. I just had to. Okay, so I mean, to be honest, Carson, I kind of enjoyed this scenario the least. So
I
maybe
feel like ours are gonna be similar.
Well, maybe. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I came up with a few things, but it's not super detailed or anything like that. So, okay, this is what I got. So, initially, Vincent and Jules challenged the aliens to a game of 21. All right? The aliens, so what happens is either the aliens refuse or they outright just destroy them. But either way, Vincent is killed. Again, red shirt, he dies somehow. I mean, if he doesn't play, I think he's shot by an alien he insulted earlier as he's leaving the bathroom.
He's like Kenny from South Park.
Yeah, right. Kenny's dead. And of course, he's shot, but with his own phaser rifle after leaving it out on the table. So yeah. So what ends up happening? Commander Wolf manages to clone LeBron James, enhancing his genes in the process. So he becomes kind of like a LeBron James / Khan hybrid. And together with some expert convincing from Dr. Mia Wallace, they get LeBron because he needed to be convinced. So Mia did her charm.
Oh. She gave him coke.
Yeah,
that's right.
Made him bleed out the nose.
So they get LeBron to agree to face off with the aliens in a game of 21. As for what happens next, you'll just have to watch the movie.
Oh, I didn't know we could just cut off like
Well, we can't. I just decided to.
Coked up Super LeBron.
That's right.
Fighting aliens.
That's right.
Okay, Lauren, how about you?
So I basically thought, they, with all the technology that they have, especially in the one where they get the whales, they travel back in time, get LeBron. He comes and then dies within the first 5 minutes of the game. So
How does he die?
In the actual fight against them?
In the fight?
In the fight. He literally just gets his head chopped off 2 minutes into the movie. So then they kind of they all get enslaved by this alien race, whatever. And then, who was it that I decided? Oh, yeah, Lizzo, just ends up coming back out of nowhere and is just like, I'm gonna fight you guys because I'm so tired of your bullshit. And then you'll have to see more to find out the next part. I like that. Just cut it off wherever. LeBron dies.
Look what I started. Look what I started.
The main point is that LeBron dies.
Mm-hmm.
Right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, and Lizzo is actually LeBron's like great granddaughter kind of thing. Yeah. So she's all like, oh my God, the power is within me the whole time, blah blah blah, and it's magical.
The power
Captain
of
Marvel.
dying within 5 minutes.
Does she
He didn't
also
know the
sing
rules.
in this one?
No,
Oh.
no. Missy Elliott does the soundtrack
Oh,
instead.
cool.
Yeah.
Paulo? Is that what
Okay, so, so they've, like, my team having no, like, technical, they can't use technology to bring LeBron back. That's completely out of the picture. They don't know how to do that. Their acting can only go so far. So they're like, we should play to our strengths, and they decide that John Boyega is gonna pretend to be LeBron, and Chris Pratt starts teaching him how to play basketball because there's this hilarious moment where he's like, yeah, I can teach you. I'm great. Haven't you seen Passengers, where I develop a amazing jump shot because I'm on the ship by myself, and then John Boyega's like, no, ain't nobody seen Passengers. And then but they work on his game while because they've negotiated an agreement with the aliens, like, okay, we're not gonna fight, but you've seen him do this, like, this is his strength, basketball. If we beat you in basketball, then this sounds like Space Jam. If we beat you in basketball, you leave us alone. And they're like, okay. So then they start training John Boyega. And then, meanwhile, Rose Byrne is like, this is the dumbest idea ever. John sucks at basketball. He's never gonna win. You're gonna get the whole world killed. So she heads off with Jules Stady and Paul Rudd, and they start planning, like, they're working, like, you know the scene in Armageddon where they're like, okay guys, we need ideas, and then there's like a scientist like bringing out the sail, like, okay, we'll take a giant sail to divert the asteroid and stuff like that. So they're in the room like that, like brainstorming ideas, and then finally they're like in the 11th hour, John is about to go and play basketball. There's like a giant setup, like a net in outer space, and they've shot him into space, and they're like, okay, this is what it's happening. And then Rose Byrne comes to John's rescue, and she hijacks the display above the court, and then she plays the remake of Space Jam, where like it's come out at this point in time.
Space Jam 2.
Space Jam 2. Sorry, yeah, like the one with LeBron James instead of Michael Jordan. And then the aliens are like watching it, and there's this montage of the aliens like, oh my God, this is terrible. He's the worst. And then out of disgust, they just leave. They're like, he's nothing. This is not worth our time. And then they just leave the Earth alone.
Oh my goodness.
Jeez.
Any comments on each other's stuff?
Yours isn't long enough.
My son. Yeah.
We need one more point from you, Dan.
I don't know, man. I still think Captain Panaka is a great idea.
So let's play that out. What happens when they bring Captain Panaka in?
Well, he doesn't know what basketball is because there's no such thing as basketball.
And he's not a real
Star Wars.
person.
When he gets transported, he ends up inside out on the
And then he explodes.
And then the aliens are so, like, impressed with that grisly display that they're like, oh, that works.
We've been entertained.
That's
Let's
right.
go home. I like the base of the aliens actually taking over the planet.
Yeah.
And then, like, the conflict, or like everything happens after they're already in charge.
Exactly.
It's like a rebellion type thing.
Way to take my scenario and make it into a completely different movie. Okay, third scenario. So this is a scenario where they end up meeting their alternate selves. Basically, your crew is on a deep space mission. They encounter some type of like space anomaly, think like the monolith in 2001. They decide to investigate it, and at that point, they get sucked into an alternate dimension. When they're in this dimension, the first thing they meet is a crew on a spaceship, and it happens to be all of the people who are on your spaceship, except they're in an alternate reality where they never passed Starfleet Academy.
How
I
are
don't.
they on a spaceship?
Mercenaries, bounty hunters, whatever you
Pirates.
think that they want to be. I don't know how you two are doing this because
I
your
know.
people aren't in Starfleet Academy anyway. But I look forward to you explaining that. But basically, like half of this is explaining what does this alternate self of your characters looks like, and then also how does that resolve itself. So Lauren, how about you go first?
I took it from kind of a It's a Wonderful Life aspect where they see how life would have been if they kind of didn't make Starfleet Academy and everything, and so then they go back, because like at the beginning of the movie they do the classic, oh, like, should I really have been here? I could have done this. Oh, I could have been a doctor on Earth or in another planet. Oh, I could have been an actress, blah blah blah. And so then when they see their alternate selves, they're like, holy shit, I'm so glad I didn't do this. And then I just figure they end up having to save the day for some reason. And so then the other people are like, huh, I wish I went through Starfleet Academy. And then it's great.
So what does this
Like-
alternate version of themselves look like?
Oh, so Tina is actually like an owner of a burger restaurant, obviously. Maya Rudolph had become a professional golfer. Amelia Clark was a police officer. Laverne Cox did become a famous doctor, but had no friends, whereas she has them on this ship, so it works out. Keanu Reeves actually became mute and just left and was like Gollum. There's a whole story behind that, but I don't have time for that right now. And then Lizzo became the famous superstar, but she realized how lonely and like isolating that was.
So presumably this was just like some passenger ship that was floating by that all these people happened to be on.
Yeah.
Huge coincidence.
Gollum and a superstar. Yeah.
First class.
Gollum.
I don't know. I was thinking way too much into what they would end up being like, rather than
No,
why
I
they
like
were
that.
all on a
That's
ship
what I was
together.
going for. So cool. Paulo, how about you?
So, clearly, because my crew are not actually in Starfleet, this alternate universe, alternate version of them are actually in Starfleet, and they're like the hard-ass part of the crew, like the
By the book.
HMS Annihilator crew, and they're like sadistic and crazy. So they, as part of their own ship, like they're trying to fight off, like they get into it's when they first meet the two ships, like there's this miscommunication, or like it's a tense standoff, and then they start fighting, and then it's like the whole movie is like a space battle through, not a whole.
The whole
not
movie's
not
one big
an
space
ongoing-
battle?
Not an ongoing space battle, but it's like a game of cat and mouse through an asteroid field. So like they'll like battle, and then they'll like break off.
It's kind of like Wrath of Khan when they're fighting in the nebula.
Yes.
Just say yes.
Yes.
Sure.
And then like meanwhile, and then in between there's like away missions where like they'll have to like collect resources to like build their ship, and then in one of those missions they happen to send like the 5 of my crew and then the 5 Bizarro World of the other crew, and then they run into each other on the planet, and then they realize like, hey, we can actually help each other because we don't want to be on the ship, and you guys are already part of like the crew, like you're Starfleet people. So we'll help you defeat our, like the alternate universe people are like, okay, your ship sounds better than ours. Sorry, just that. Your ship sounds better than ours because like it's really strict, but ours is worse because we're like tyrants and whatever. We don't want to do that. So we'll help you take care of our ship, and then we'll switch, and then that's what they do.
I feel like your franchise isn't built for longevity.
It's not.
I thought you were gonna say they were gonna fall in love with each other.
With
Like
themselves.
with
them.
themselves in the alternate reality.
Well, the closest thing to that was that they're all fighting, but then Chris Pratt are just so like happy-go-lucky to each other that they're like
Bros.
Hey, did we just become best friends? Like that kind of thing.
Oh my god, yeah, and they do like a mirror montage thing for a few minutes of
Yeah.
them being like,
Yeah.
There's flexing going on here in case
Yeah.
anyone's wondering. Dan, what's going on in the Pulp Fiction universe?
All right, so the mirror universe that my crew meets are all gangsters. All right, so basically they're like the actual Pulp Fiction. It's not Pulp Fiction versus maybe Star Trek so much as it's the mirror people are actually Pulp Fiction
so
gangsters.
your people actually went through Starfleet?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
And the mirror people are the gangster people. They use a hollowed out asteroid as a base. And of course, everyone has to square off against each other. Like the mirror, like, the same people will, hang out with each other and see what happens. So we got, so Captain Jules and his counterpart, they get into an argument just before they come to blows, or phasers, as the case may be. Gangsta Jules starts out with Ezekiel 25:17, but then Captain Jules cuts him off with an excerpt from the Federation Charter. And he goes, "We, the life forms of the United Federation of Planets, determined to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war and to reaffirm faith in the fundamental rights of sentimental beings." And then at that point, he just kind of stops, and then they just start going at it with phasers. Yeah, exactly. Okay, then we've got Vincent and his counterpart. They actually hit it off really well.
And they start making out.
Well, maybe. I mean, they might have gotten that to that point.
And then they die.
But what happened? So while traveling on a shuttlecraft to Risa for some R&R, and that's a resort planet from TNG.
Mhm.
But they're heading off on this shuttlecraft, hanging out. Like, let's pick up some women, hang out and stuff like that. Lieutenant Commander Vincent accidentally shoots Gangsta Vincent in the face.
Oh no!
Accidentally?
I
Yeah.
hate
Like Pulp Fiction.
accidents.
Yeah, he's like, oh man, I shot Vincent in the face. So that's what happens there. And then we've got Mia ends up ODing on some really trippy shit while hanging out with Gangsta Mia. And things are tense here for a good about 2.5 seconds. But thankfully, this is Star Trek. So all they have to do is like zap her with some hyperspray, like a type thing.
They don't have to stab her with a needle?
Yeah, they don't have to do that. They just go like in the arm or something, or in the shoulder.
In the butt.
And then or in the butt, and then just push some buttons on a console, and she's okay. Because that's Star Trek, right? That's how the doctors work.
Classic.
That's by far my favorite movie of yours, Dan.
So that's that.
Wait, what happens with Tarantino?
I didn't get that far. This was like last night, and I was like,
You'll have
I went
to
to
watch
bed.
more to find
That's
out.
right. You'll have to watch it.
His
Thanks,
character
Lauren.
doesn't matter anyway.
It's just Jimmy.
What about the wolf?
I don't know. They get in some debate over how to clean up some brains easier and faster.
Yeah, when Jules accidentally, when Vincent actually kills.
they get called in to like solve the issue.
Yeah.
I need to call the wolf. He opens up his communicator.
Alrighty.
How do you feel about those questions?
Yeah.
I'm
want to
happy
win?
that all of them were generally different. None of you had like the same concept of where you were taking your movie with, which is what exactly I was hoping for. I'm trying to determine like if I should pick a winner and like who that would be.
It'd be me.
I'm gonna post this on Instagram, or we're gonna post this on Instagram with pictures that you guys have made, and our audience, social media people can determine what franchise they think would be the best. One thing I'll have you guys do to finish off, we need a name for your crew. So, and this is more like the TV show name, how it's like Star Trek Next Generation, Star Trek Original Series. Like, what is your crew called if you had multiple movies?
Estrogen. I'm just kidding.
Star Trek Estrogen.
No, I don't know. You go first.
I don't know. No, you. Fuck, I need to think about it.
I don't know. You go first. Star Trek.
Star Trek Into Badassery.
Yeah, didn't you already have like motherfuckers?
Yeah,
Bad
that's right.
motherfucker.
Bad. The U.S. is bad, motherfucker.
But the show itself can't be called Star Trek Badass Motherfucker.
Why the hell not?
Why
There's
not?
a Star Trek
Yeah.
Enterprise.
What?
There's a show called
Yeah,
Enterprise.
I know.
Because it's
I
named
don't-
after the ship. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
okay.
right. Yes.
I think you're missing the point here.
So that's your final answer?
That's my final answer. Star Trek: The Adventures of the Bad Motherfucker.
Oh boy.
Well, I mean, pressure's off you of having a bad one because that's out of the way.
I don't know. They're all like
Low
fancy ones that
expectations.
sound like they would. That are all so. Discovery. The next generation.
Discovery's already a thing.
No, I know. I'm going through the names because
Saying they're bad
I
names.
need to.
Oh, I see.
Well, no, I just mean
Generic.
like, yeah, you can't really get it creative with it. You have to like continue with the formality of it.
If you don't come up with a better one, I'm just going to post on Instagram with Star Trek estrogen. So.
So that leaves you, Paulo.
Ooh,
Unless
Star
you come-
Trek ovaries.
Okay.
Oh my
That's better than estrogen.
Yeah.
Star Trek Inside the Actor's Studio.
Oh God.
He got what's his face Lipton.
That is not my final answer. Star
Star Trek: The Last Generation.
Because that's essentially the
Ooh,
end of
Star
the
Trek like Revenge of the Women.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, because of all the years of women just being like communications officers and not having their size in spacesuit and whatnot in real life.
Okay, then I want to change mine as well.
Sorry, my chair's making so much noise.
Okay, no one's listening anymore.
At this point, at the
Yeah.
2 hour mark. Star Trek. I need something to do with acting or actors. Star Trek off script.
Star Trek drama.
Drama.
Star Trek.
Star
Alternate
Trek
universe.
working title.
Working title. Star Trek. No.
Donkey Punch. Just kidding. I think that's a really bad thing. Never mind.
We all thought you were serious. Glad you clarified.
No, there's like an acting term that's like in my head, but I can't. Oh.
Star Trek acting term.
No.
Star Trek improvise.
No.
Improv.
Nah.
Nah.
I'll stick to Star Trek off script.
Right.
There you go.
Cool. Well, we will post these and see what the people of the world think. To end off this episode, as we usually do, a movie that we are looking forward to coming out soon. Does anyone have anything?
Sure. I really want to see Terminator Dark Fate, whatever it's called. Thank you, Paul.
Why?
Because I'm mostly sure that it's going to be terrible, and I think it would just be a fun, bad movie to go see.
More or less terrible than Genesis.
I don't think it can be more.
Yeah, I was just
terrible.
going to say, hopefully not as bad, and yes, I agree. Jesus.
And Sarah Connor's back.
And Sarah Connor, yes. Linda Hamilton, yes. So yeah, I don't think it could be as bad, hopefully. But yeah, we'll see.
Isn't it James Cameron again?
Yeah.
Producing.
Oh, right.
The director is the guy who did Deadpool 2, Tim Miller, I think. That's his name.
I think it's something Miller.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, right. How bad could it be, you think, with that?
That would be pretty bad.
I'm gonna throw a hot take out there and say it's not gonna be bad. It's gonna actually be good.
I feel like
Well, we'll
You
go.
heard it here first.
Here-
on
yeah,
the
that's-
reason we have a podcast.
Well, we're gonna go, right? The four of us.
Okay, let's not.
Where
make
we're gonna
plans.
go.
Yeah.
I think it'll be better than Genesis and what was the one with Christian Bale?
Rise of the Machine.
No,
Something with an S. It's like a one-word thing, I think.
Salvation.
Salvation. Yeah.
Salvation, yeah. I think it'll be better than that.
I never saw that one. That's the only one I haven't seen.
Anyway, what are you two looking forward to?
bombshell because we are literally at the point in all of this political drama where people are making movies about it.
Do you want to explain what it's about for those who don't know?
It's about the Fox News personnel that were harassed by the owner. Yeah, and there's famous actresses playing them and stuff. I'm just fascinated by it. Can't wait to see what really happens.
Paula?
I thought I was gonna sneeze again. Sorry. I'm looking forward to Jojo Rabbit, which is gonna be playing at TIFF, and I will be watching. It's a satirical period piece about this kid in the Hitler Youth, whose imaginary friend is Hitler, and Hitler is played by Taika Waititi, who was in What We Do in the Shadows and directed Thor Ragnarok, and he just the trailer is very funny.
Wow,
Huh.
that sounds
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
He seems like just a silly clown version of Hitler, which is, I'm sure, not very far off the real thing.
It's probably going to be pretty different than the real
No, I
thing.
know.
Movie I'm looking forward to is also coming out at TIFF, and it's The True Story of the Kelly Gang. That's the actual title. It's by the guy who directed the Assassin's Creed movie, but more notably also directed the Macbeth movie with Michael Fassbender. I think he does good visuals and good stuff with like that type of material. So I'm not 100% sure what it's about, but like outlaws from the 1800s type thing. So I'm looking forward to that. So I guess we will wrap it up there. And thanks Dan and Lauren for coming, and thanks everyone for listening.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Woo. Bye.